So this video is going to explain how to wind the bobbin. So we already know how to thread the machine. Unfortunately, this machine requires you to unthread it. So I have it completely unthreaded. And now I have an empty bobbin. You can't add to it if there was thread already on it. So it does need to be empty. And then all of your bobbins have a number on it. So I want you to make sure always that that number is on the top. Because then you'll make sure that it goes in the machine correctly. One thing also to point out is that there's a tiny little circle on both sides of the bobbin, but again, we're working with the numbered side, and so that's going to be important for where we put the thread. So first thing, I'm just going to set that in here for now. To start with the thread, we are going to come around the bottom of the black peg first. Okay, so opposite of what we did with threading, we're not wrapping it, we're just coming around the bottom. And then we're gonna come around the top of this silver screw. And then I like to put my finger on the thread and kind of pull that tight so that it's nice and secure in there. So we're around the bottom of the black peg, top of the silver screw, and then now we need our bobbin. And so we are gonna come through the middle of the bobbin, okay, and out the top of that little circle. So you can see, and I have my number on top. Again, we're coming through the middle of the bobbin and out the top of the little circle. And then I'm just gonna pull that tight. And then it just sits right on the bobbin winder, okay? So that's ready to go. Two things we need to do before we can push the foot pedal. We're gonna push that to the right, and then there's a knob in the center of the hand wheel that you're gonna pull out. So this center knob, we're pulling that out. Okay, and so now I want you to hold the thread in your right hand, hold it up in the air, and go ahead and push the foot pedal and just fill it just a little bit. And then you can stop and trim that all the way down and then continue filling. So things you want to watch for, I'm not going too fast. You want to make sure that it stays on these two pegs, because if it pops off, it'll wind it and it'll look kind of loopy, and that's not going to be good in the machine. So you can see that it's filling very smooth. That's what we want. If you start to see loops, stop and you want to start over because something went wrong. So for you guys, you'll probably want a little bit more than this. Maybe fill it half. If you're starting a project, maybe fill it all the way so that you don't run out in the middle of a project, because there is nothing worse than that. So I'm just gonna stop here. So I'm gonna push the knob in, push that back to the left, and then I can pull the bobbin off. Okay, so now we would thread our machine as normal, but to put the bobbin in the bobbin slot down at the bottom of the machine, I am just gonna pull the black piece here, push that to the right, and that pops the bobbin cover off. So I'll just set that aside. And then you wanna hold the bobbin in your left hand, and the number should still be on top, and then it just sits directly in there. So that's why you want to make sure that the number is always on top. So I'm just going to set that in there. And then with this machine, it's really nice. It only catches in one spot. So kind of, if you think of it like a clock, it's about the 6 o'clock. You can see a little slit here. So you're just going to take your thread and catch it right in that little spot, and then bring it up to the left. And then put the cover back on. So it is ready to go, and you can always just start with the tail underneath and to the back. So then you would thread the machine and you would have 2 threads to start with.